Well, hello there. Welcome to another episode of Ordinary Guys Bourbon. Today on the program, a guy that's anything but ordinary, my special guest and friend, Angelo Fallone. Angelo, welcome to the show.
David, thank you for having me. It's an honor.
Angelo, tell us a little about yourself.
Yeah, grew up here, Michigan my whole life. Born and raised, first generation. Italian American, so proud heritage there. I know your Polish heritage there.
Oh, of course.
Grew up in good old Novi, David.
Oh, yeah,
where we first got acquainted, right?
That's right.
High school friends. I remember working on the freshman year homecoming float.
Yeah, we had Touchdown Elvis, I think, in the back.
Touchdown Elvis.
Yep.
Right. Good old days, man.
And I think you had, or someone in your family had a big red truck.
Yes, with the indestructible grill.
I remember you saying this grill is indestructible. What was it, like a Cheyenne or something like that?
Something like that, but yeah, I remember Mike Schmidt hitting it with a baseball bat.
Mike Schmidt, who's that?
Famous third baseman, Philadelphia Phillies.
Oh, I'm not baseball.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, that's too bad. But so then after Novi, right? We went our separate ways. You went to Western,
Went to Western, yeah.
and then went to GMI, I think.
After Western, started working at General Motors, and
Okay.
then started finished my master's at GMI, Kettering, if you will.
No, it's GMI. Until I dropped out. That was good. How long were you at General Motors?
Let's see, I think a little over 8 years.
Okay.
GM Powertrain, Willow Run, and Warren.
Okay.
Both closed down factories.
You got quite a reputation there.
Yeah.
And then we reconnected. You left General Motors and went to Ford.
Correct.
And I was teaching a class, and I looked at the roster, and there's not too many people named Angelo Fallone. Right. So we were in the same group. And then, like, I tell the story often that when we were going back and forth in Canada, like there were times that like you and I would meet at the service station and switch fobs.
Yes.
What, did that actually happen?
Oh, it did. Yeah.
Because like we just pulled off the freeway.
We did.
If we were going a different direction, that wouldn't work, right?
Famous on routes.
Yeah.
Stop there. We'd hand off the key fob to the suppliers and
we did that
tag in, tag out.
We did that for at least a good year.
Yeah, it was a good stretch.
I think it was 62 straight weeks at Camcor that I spent. But we were there before that for 6F Mid.
Yeah.
And for Eston.
Yep.
Right, with Larry Porcelato.
Oh yeah.
Larry's down in the U.S. now.
Carolina.
Yeah, he loves it.
He loves it. Loving life.
Sean Condon, I think, is the CEO of Colt, the gun manufacturer.
Colt, the gun manufacturer. Yep.
That guy's great. Yeah, great people. What an exciting adventure we've been. Remember that last week we made a decision to try to hit every single bar that we had gone to over the course of the last 3 years? And I think we were successful, weren't we?
I think so.
I don't think we went to the one that Keith Collins was dragged me on to.
But I think it'd be sad to hear that Filthy McNasty's is no longer open.
Is it really?
It's closed.
Oh, but Squirrel 2000 still is, right?
It's closed.
Even Squirrel 2000?
Squirrel 2000.
Oh, squirrelies.
Closed down.
And then after a while at Ford, we were both in quality, right? And then we left quality and both went back to operations.
Yep.
In the same plant. That was weird, wild. And then you said, I'm gonna go do some other stuff for a while. And you worked at what, a rivet company?
Yep. It's a company called Henrod, bought out by Alice Copco, made self-piercing rivets.
How about that?
Who knew? Ford was the #1 customer at the time.
And then you went back and you joined this electric car company.
Yes, sure did.
And then a few years after you did, I did the same. How about that?
And here we are.
Yeah. Now on the podcast. So let's talk about the bourbon today, right? I thought really hard about what bourbon to do, right? We were gonna do like chicken cock, right, or Belfort, the Texas pecan. But what I realized is that a lot of the programming that we've had in season 1, some of the bourbons are bourbons that aren't really ordinary guy bourbons, right? It's nice to have a bottle of Blanton's on the shelf. It's a great gift, right? Frank August, really nice looking bottle, right? But we really needed to get some of the normal, everyday bourbons that everyone might drink on a daily basis or a weekly basis. And so I think that's why Maker's Mark is what we settled on today. It's only the second screw top that we ever reviewed. Jackson's was the first.
Okay.
So, but let me tell you a little bit about this bourbon. I did some research, as I do, right? Maker's Mark. It was founded by T. William Bill Samuels Sr., an engineer, who purchased the Burke's Distillery in Loretto, Kentucky in 1953. The history of Burke's Distillery may go back to 1805, we're not sure. But that's when the Burke's family operated a grist mill on the property, and they may have sold some bourbon. Who knows? George R. Burke's is known to have built a formal distillery on the property in 1889. So let's say at least 1889,
Okay.
right?
Fair enough.
Producing Burke's Spring Bourbon, which was produced until the start of Prohibition. Burke's Distillery is designated as a National Historic Landmark. Throughout the 60s and 70s, Maker's Mark was widely marketed with the tagline, "It tastes expensive," and it is. Maker's Mark was sold to Hiram Walker & Sons in 1971, then acquired by Seagram in 1987, then acquired by Allied Domecq in 2001, which was purchased by Pernod Ricard in 2005. The Maker's Mark brand was subsequently sold off to Fortune Brands, which split in 2011, with Maker's Mark becoming part of Beam Incorporated. In 2014, Beam was sold to Suntory, creating Beam Suntory, and then rebranded as Suntory Global Spirits in 2024. So a couple name changes there.
Yeah.
Right? But the product's still the same. T. William Bill Samuel Sr. ran Maker's Mark until the mid-70s when his son, Bill Samuels Jr., assumed leadership. Bill Sr. famously told his son in passing the torch, "Don't screw up the whiskey." And they spell whiskey without the E.
Very good advice.
Yeah. Bill Jr. ran Maker's Mark until 2011 when he was succeeded by his son, Rob Samuels. In the company's 70-plus year history, they've had 9 master distillers, with some names you might find familiar. From 1953 to 1955, Elmo Beam. The guy's name was Elmo. From 55 until 1980, Sam Cecil. 81 to 87, Arthur Guti. Or Goatee?
Goatee.
88 to 2003, Steve Nally. 1994 to 2008 was Dave Pickerel, who you might remember from episode 16, Blackened by Metallica. He was the master distiller behind that brand. 2008 to 2010, Kevin Smith, but not that Kevin Smith. 2010 to 2018, Greg Davis. 18 to 22, Denny Potter. And current master distiller is Blake Layfield, PhD. Let's talk about the bourbon now. Maker's Mark uses no rye in their mash, instead using red winter wheat 16%, corn 70%, and malted barley 14%. It's bottled at 90 proof, although the company did announce plans, and later redacted them, to dilute the liquid to 84 proof and stretch their inventory. That was not well received, and so they never did. They didn't do like the new Coke.
Very good idea.
They just said no. It's aged about 6 years, which the aging process is a little unique in that all the barrels are rotated between different floors of rickhouses for consistency, and no barrel is bottled until it's deemed ready, which can take a little more time. More on this later. It's a small batch offering, and I like the Maker's Mark defines this as no more than 20 barrels from a mash bill. Okay?
Everybody's got their own definition.
That's right. That's right. It's not real regular. They do have an ambassador program. Have you heard of this?
No, I'm not.
The ambassador program is kind of neat. You can sign up on their website to become an ambassador of the brand. I did this in 2017, and I'm currently waiting on my own barrel to mature. So somewhere in the rick houses, there's a barrel. I've
Allocated to you.
It's allocated to me, right? When it matures, they're going to call me, and they'll say, "Hey, your bourbon's ready," and I can go there with a guest, and we can sample. We can dip the bottles in the wax, and we can tell them how many bottles that we want.
Okay.
Whether it's 1 or 2 or 240, I think is the case. But that's kind of neat. It's like a golden ticket for you.
Yeah, that's interesting.
What about this dipping process, which I personally hate. I hate the wax dip. But, the idea for dipping the bottles in wax, along with the naming and logo, were all ideas of Bill Sr.'s wife, Margie. The S is a nod to the Samuels family legacy. The Roman numeral 4 was based on Bill Sr. being a 4th-generation distiller. The star symbol in the logo is because the farm where the original Maker's Mark was created was Star Hill Farm. Even the circle around the logo has meaning. There are 3 breaks in the lower right corner that represent the dark times in American distilling, when alcohol sales were either illegal or restricted. So the Civil War, when the Confederate government banned bourbon distilling to conserve resources. Good play, by the way. World War I, when the sale of liquor to men in uniform was forbidden, and of course Prohibition. Margie was also the first woman inducted into the Kentucky Bourbon Hall of Fame in 2014.
Did not know that.
See there. And here's a fun fact. When Bill Sr. was working on devising the ideal mash bill, he had allegedly been working with 7 different recipes with the help of Pappy Van Winkle. Since he didn't have time to wait for the spirit to mature, he made a loaf of bread out of each mash bill. And the one that tasted the best was the one with honey and So that's how he came up with this. So Maker's Mark. There you go. And you've watched the program before, so we've got 2 samples in front of us. We've got the neat sample and the 22-year-olds live here red Solo cup shot glass, and which Andy actually used to have like a mouthwash dispenser. Like, have you seen
Just the big gallon of it.
just full of Fireball?
Oh, nice.
You know, and you can just take a little shot glass and
There you go.
just have it in the fridge. That's the bracket for it still over there on the fridge.
Still over there.
Oh look, I forgot to turn on our lighting. I hope this doesn't wash out.
Uh-oh.
I can adjust that in post.
Okay.
Yeah. So we probably both had Maker's Mark before. But,
Yes.
yeah, here's to you, Angelo. Cheers.
Yeah, cheers.
You know, some people when they have shots, they take the glass and they bounce it on the table first.
Okay.
What's that for?
I really don't know.
No.
Maybe it's to say I'm here.
Salute.
Salute.
All right. So the first category we've got is heritage.
Okay.
Maximum 20. What do you think?
Well, for me, I mean, there is a lot of history there that goes back in time. I really like the symbolism that they used in the logo.
Yeah. We'll get into the design later on.
Yeah, no, I mean, but just that they're keeping with the times. It's going through history. The heritage is there for me. You know, out of a max of 20, I'm at an 18.
I think it's a good score. I'm a little bit lower than that, only because I wish they were able to say that they were actually distilling in 1805, right?
You don't have that linkage.
Well, and that would be just for the site, right? So this product wasn't until the 50s, right? But still, I'm at a 16, but I think still a strong score. And if Bill Samuel Sr. was a 4th generation, and then he had his son, and then his son's son, right? So they're on the 7th generation of distillers. So I think 16 is where I'm going to stay.
Fair.
Taste and drinkability, this is the biggest category. Maximum score is 40.
For me, I mean, it's a very easy drink. Like you said at the beginning of the show, from an ordinary guy's perspective, this is something anybody can pick up, a novice, someone who's just getting introduced to bourbons. You know, I have a hard time giving the max score, but you know, I'm at a 35. It's a very easy, it's a very good taste and drinkability.
I agree, and I also think that it doesn't have any rye in it, but you know, a lot of times when you have a bourbon, and I'm going to be very careful with my wording here, but a lot of times when you have a bourbon that doesn't have any rye, that has real high corn, it ends up being very, very sweet. And I actually like that, right? Whereas if you get a rye bourbon, it usually has a little bit of a sharper taste to it.
That bite to it.
This is just really right in the middle, right? It's not very sweet. It's not very sharp, right?
Yep.
And I think I can say those on the show without being chastised. But I agree. It's a high score. I'm going to go with 33. Okay. Next, we've got affordability. This, I should have mentioned, this is a $29 bottle. Probably varies by state. But I picked this up for $29, so reasonably priced, right? Right in the same ballpark as like a Jim Beam, right? A 7-year aged, what's that? Black, or double oak, right? You talk about the Woodford Reserve, you're a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Buffalo Trace a little bit higher. Right? Eagle Rare, if you can find it, a little bit higher, right? So really reasonably priced. Maximum score here is 30. What do you think?
It's on the lower end. It gets you into the entry. You know, I'm at a 20. I'm at a 25. I think that's a respectable score for affordability.
Yeah.
You can go a little cheaper. I wouldn't go there, but you can.
Yeah.
And obviously you can go way above that.
That's right.
25 for me.
That's exactly where I'm at as well. And then last we go back to design. Maximum 10 here.
I want to give him credit for the design. I'm not a wax guy myself.
Yeah.
But from a marketing standpoint, looks, appeal, it's intriguing to some folks. I'm at an 8. I'll give it an 8. And the history behind the symbol, I think you tie it all together. I'm at an 8.
I think if you go to the distillery, even if you're not part of that ambassador program, right? Although I'm pretty sure 1,000 people are going that over. But I think you can just dip your own bottles.
That's what I've heard. Yeah, you can actually just dip. You can do the process, right?
I wonder if you go there and say, I'd like to dip my own bottles, and you just don't dip them. I wonder if they'd allow that.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know? I'm always frustrated. Knob Creek also, but Knob Creek has a
Tab.
like a tab for you to grab onto.
It crumbles.
Does it?
It wants to crumble.
Does-
Mine do.
The tab does?
No,
Or the whole thing?
the wax.
I tried to get the wax off one of these bottles, and that's like might be like a drum for that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it looks like it would come off real easy with this, but yeah, you're at an 8. I think I'm right there as well. I think I'm right there as an 8. Yeah. So overall, what do you have as your score?
Now I gotta do math, David.
This is one of I'm sure you're up for it, right? You got that MBA or Master's of Engineering.
I don't even know.
What's your bachelor's in?
Business.
Business.
Business, yep.
You got an
Bachelor.
engineering degree from GMI, or
Yeah.
did you?
Yeah, I'm a little backwards.
That's good.
Hey, whatever
That's probably better. So when you do that, like, what are your classes that you take for a master's? It's 20 years ago.
Yeah, it's a long time ago.
But like, did you have to go? Like, you didn't go through like DiffEQ and like thermodynamics for a business degree.
No, did not.
Do you have to do those for a master's degree in
No,
engineering?
did not.
So they just said, we'll skip that.
Yeah, don't worry about
That's genius.
it. Yeah,
I
it worked out for me.
I think you did it a better way.
It worked out for me. Wow. With all the entry-level stuff, like, material sciences and things like that,
Okay.
and CAD and all that,
Yeah.
I had to do all the basics.
Okay.
But I stayed away from all the tough stuff.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's well done.
I appreciate it.
What do you have?
I'm at a total of 86.
86. I'm at 82. I think this will go down. I mean, I think this is episode 2 from season 2.
Okay.
So this isn't going to come out for a couple 4 weeks. But if I look back, I don't think the average score is 84. That's a strong score.
That is.
And maybe our scoring system is a little bit immature. But
No, I think Dave, when you're talking an Ordinary Guys Bourbon and someone who's maybe looking to get into bourbons, they're not a big bourbon whiskey person, guys or gals, right? Whatever. This is a great entry level
I think you're absolutely right.
bourbon for the everyday connoisseur, to be honest.
Well, that's it. That's the episode.
All right, man.
Thanks for being on the program. Finish this off still.
Yeah.
But thanks for being on the program.
Cheers. I appreciate the invite.
And until next time, from Ordinary Guys Bourbon.
Enjoy.